Yes, that theme music. What is that called? It's by Suerte, Pastec, Siesta Ocho. I don't know how that fits in with anything, but it does fit in with the theme for city business, and that means it's time to present the latest from the City Hall, and we are pleased to have 4th Ward Councilperson, we'll call him Councilperson in this case, Michael Halley. My name is James Moore. You are listening to solar-powered KRUU-FM, broadcasting from the Cultural District in Fairfield, Iowa, home of the Midwest's first and only solar-powered radio station. I think we found one that started in the late 80s that's not going anymore. So, but we're also streaming online at KRUU-FM.com. We welcome FMC, the Fairfield Media Center, to the facility. We look much better on radio, and I'm using the term we specifically because we have Mr. Halley joining us here, and I've just recently seen a very, very happy video. Any comments on that, sir?
It was fun, and I don't regret anything.
Well said. By the way, we're referring to the chamber that evening, a whole evening of, and I think there was some special award for FMC.
It was the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce Awards Banquet, an annual event. Many awards were given out. Fairfield Media Center did receive an award, Interactive Media Award for their new website. If you haven't been to, it's fairfieldmediacenter.com.
Okay.
I was almost going to say org, but I had to get some.
So fairfieldmediacenter.com, that's simple.
And it's really great because it's got sections, like if you're interested in local government, you can click on and see all the city council meetings and these broadcasts. If you're interested in music, theater, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Or even if you want to see something like this from I don't know if you could see that over there in the camera, the ledgers, we call it the rolling ledger, crew on the cover of the rolling ledger, talking about the Fairfest lineup announcement press conference, and FMC covered that. I believe that's on the website, is it not?
Yes.
Yes, it is. We heard that from
Jason Strong
behind the camera. Jason Strong.
Yeah.
But, that was the announcement for all the different the lineup, and it was a great configuration of classy peoples.
I thought you were going Elmer Fudd there for a second. It's a great press conference.
Well, we were very quiet because it was very posh. It was at the Sondheim, and the mayor was there, of course, and Terry Baker gave some great comments. Nancy Morrissey, director of the chamber, as well as Gene Greco, who helped organize it, and also Mark Cohen speaking on behalf of Ruston. It was just a great little soiree talking about another great soiree among many great soirees coming up in June. But let's
talk about it really quickly, though.
Okay.
FMC is going to be taking video live of the event. Is that correct?
I believe they have a router that's going to be in action, and we'll work that out with the talent on how they feel. But yeah, we are really excited. And already FMC has been partnering with Fairfest and many different groups, of course, the city and so forth, if you want to catch the complete City Hall happenings. But getting some of the images out from this, and already helping with some of the pre-marketing, and we're really excited about that. So if you didn't hear, of course, we're talking Los Lobos, triple Grammy winners, David Lindley, Grammy nominee, Rebirth Brass Band, and a whole bunch of others, June 20th to 22nd. And I'm sure you'll hear more of that here. But what do you call, is it pregressing if we digress before we've even started?
I think yes. I think that's correct.
Well, let's unpregress and welcome you back. What city council session are we talking about,
All
sir?
right. This is a review of the regular city council meeting from April 28th, 2014. And the reason that I let you just keep talking about that is we had a relatively light agenda. We got done in an hour and a half, which, is pretty quick.
Compared to the last one.
Yes. So actually, our first public forum had to do with Fairfest. We heard from Jerry Fisher, who owns Top of the Rock. He requested to close the alley there next to the establishment for live music.
Mm-hmm. Like he did last year.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of a little satellite, so to speak, of live music.
In the business, we call it an after party.
There you go. Well, the funny thing is he wanted to keep going. He didn't know that we had asked Fairfest to stop at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So he was hoping to keep going longer than that, but we didn't feel that would make any sense. We're like, well, Fairfest has to stop at midnight, then your guys should stop at midnight. But then we made, and this was a very clever thought, someone asked, what could he go acoustic after midnight? Could the band continue playing, but just without any amplification? Said, sure, why not? Until we get in a complaint, go ahead and give it a try.
That's sort of like drinking without any liquid.
Well, an acoustic, you know, it'd be a little more intimate,
Yeah.
a little quieter. But we said, the police chief's like, yeah, we could do that until or unless someone calls a complaint. So we're trying to be flexible there. But so there's another little activity that night. So that was approved.
I believe the Green Band's going to be playing that again, too. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, they would sound really great acoustic, I think, personally. But, yeah, they'll play probably from 10 to midnight, non-acoustically. But, you know, where I'm going to be is over at the Action.
Well, actually, that's Saturday night. Rebirth Brass Band will be doing their parade. You know, they're an incredible Mardi Gras band. So I think we're going to call it the Toot Your Own Horn Parade because it kind of goes in with the theme of Fairfield. But they'll get it going, and we're going to invite everybody to come. We've heard the burlesque troupe, and we're going to invite different bands to come out. The Dana T. Horns and different folks will be there to kind of do a parade through town and then come back to stage. So they may be finished in the 10:30 range anyway. So it's going to work out nice. There'll also be after parties at the Arbor Bar,
okay,
and hopefully more and more because we want to have so many people that everybody's busy and happy and selling whatever they sell.
Sounds good. All right, we moved along to our resolutions and action items and ordinances. We had 5 items that were basically kind of cleaning up a little bit of some signage around town. We had some outdated no parking and weight limit signs that we moved to take out, but we did add no parking to a certain side of the street on the 100 block of North C and the 400 block of East Hempstead. And what happens is some of these narrow streets where there's a lot of on-street parking. When people park on both sides of the street, city snow plows can't get through. Garbage trucks can't get through. Emergency vehicles, like a fire truck, wouldn't be able to get through. So there are times when the city has to designate one side is okay to park, but not the other. So that's what that is.
Okay.
We put in a fire lane in front of the public library. There were 3 parking spots that were not the parallel parking, but were street parking. And the fire chief realized that if there was an emergency at the library, that is exactly where the fire truck would need to go to hook up to the fire hydrant and take care of whatever was going on. So losing a few parking spaces, but gaining safety in terms of if there were a fire at the library, this would be the way they could put that out quickly.
And obviously people can still drop people off there or, that sort of thing.
Drop-off pickup zone, sure. Mm-hmm. We had a resolution to accept a land gift from Marsh University Management. I'm not quite sure why, but they own some property that was south of the Little League Diamonds. By heading out of town on Burlington. Right. And they bequeathed it to the city. So the Little League is hoping to expand and put in some batting cages.
Wow.
There were batting cages at the former putt-putt.
Okay.
That's now closed down. So
it would be on that side of the street that we're talking about?
Well, maybe they'll buy those or get some other ones, but move them over to the same piece of land that has the diamonds on it. So just basically an expansion. So thank you very much, MUM, for the very generous gift of land.
Great, yeah.
Next, we had another Blue Zones policy supporting breastfeeding for city employees. Basically, if a city employee chooses to breastfeed or express milk for their child, that it's something that the city would support. So that passed. Another check off our Blue Zone list to help our city employees and city citizens. That sounds funny.
It sounds good to me.
Our community citizens to live healthy. All right, a couple of easements.
How about city denizens? Okay, I'll
Denizens, I think of like animals when I think of denizens. Does denizens include animals?
I'm not sure.
think it might. It might be all living beings. So, we want our city dogs and cats and birds and squirrels to be as healthy as possible as well. I think they mostly breastfeed those animals.
Pretty much. I think it's
pretty common.
It's a given.
Yeah. All right. So moving on.
Their options are more limited, I think, in that area.
Yeah. Out at Walton Lake subdivisions, a new house is going in. It's really close to the loop trail. And actually, on one side of the property, the upgraded wastewater system will be going in. So we needed 2 easements. This is something I can talk about real quickly. An easement is basically that a property owner maintains ownership of the property, but it's a legal agreement that allows a certain use by, in this case, the city. So on this property on the west side, the city is saying, you will allow us to have our trail. And the owners say, sure thing. And then on the east side, the city's saying, you'll allow us to put in a sewer pipe, and if we need to get to it, we can still dig up in that area. And it's a legal agreement, but also allows them to plan. So they probably wouldn't want to plant anything on top of where the sewer line will go. So just it's a very common thing used. It's going to be more and more. You're going to hear about more and more of that as we move forward with phase 1 of the wastewater upgrades. This is a new item. This is kind of cool.
Okay.
A skate park in O.B. Nelson Park. So an anonymous donor came to the city and said, I will give up to, I think it was $150,000 towards a skate park. And originally it was going to go west of where the new indoor gym is going to be. So that piece of property, kind of across from the Hy-Vee parking lot, was one location. But then it was decided O.B. Nelson Park, because now the indoor pool or the outdoor pool is being moved south of the indoor pool. So that's all over there at Roosevelt. So that freed up some space over at O.B. Nelson, where the old outdoor pool was.
Okay, are you following that, guys? You got a map? I know this is radio, so it's the theater of the imagination. We can't put the chart there. But where the other one used to be, the other one isn't going to be. But where the other one is, the other one's going to be where the other one was used to be.
I could bring a city map with me if we're going to have video.
Oh, yeah. By the way, for video, we can do that. Okay, so here we are. Okay, go ahead.
Or if we get really fancy and fund FMC a little bit more, because they're city funded, I could just do like this kind of thing.
That's right.
Post-production, they could put in all sorts of
green screen it. What is that? Green something.
All right, we're having.
You can tell this was a slow city council.
Exactly.
Day,
I'm just filling in.
By the way, just for the record, I want to interrupt this interruption with a very special announcement. Denizen is a person, animal, or plant that lives in or often is found in a particular place or region. So
plants too.
It's all encompassing.
Yeah, that might be hard. Breastfeeding plants.
I don't know that. Yeah, how that works.
A milk pod, though.
Possibly, yeah. But what I wanted to say was, you are listening to City Business, believe it or not. This is not a reasonable alternative or Planet Earth Wild.
It really sounds like it this time.
But I want to say that we do bring the latest from the City Hall Tuesday lunchtime, 12:30, Thursday dinner time, 6:30 p.m., and the following Monday, 6:30 a.m. We'll have a final, at least one more state business session on the off week, as it were, the opposite week, the next week, with our state representative, Kurt Hansen. I think they're closing down the year for budget considerations and all that there, but right here on solar-powered KRUU-FM and also FMC. Okay, and now back to our regularly scheduled program, Michael Halley.
All right, so we accepted a particular company who does good designs, had actually done a skate park in Oskaloosa, I believe, and are currently working on something in Illinois. So they had the low bid. They'll be coming over, and we should have the skate park finished. We're going to take community input on its design. Excellent. Probably put together a Facebook page to reach youth who may not want to come to a public meeting, and then have it built by fall.
That's fantastic.
Keep your eyes open for that. It'll have features that...
And can I just repeat that? Because that's so cool to have a window for people that are in the game, that it's their whole life, to get a chance to put it all out on the table and see what's happening. And so this is the important time in processes, rather than wait till it's done and go, why didn't they do that? let's get it out on the table.
Yeah. So by our meeting in 2 weeks from now, I'm sure I'll have more information on when that public meeting will take place and where, and the Facebook page and all that. We heard from FEDA, Fairfield Economic Development Association Director Adam Plaguey. He's working with some developers who own property east of the new Pilot Grove Bank on South Main, who are interested in some housing development or wooing housing developers, but they would like the city to continue paving the road that will go in front of the bank, turn the corner, and go towards where their development will be. So we kind of took a look at the tax increment financing, the TIF district we had created, and Adam had crunched some simple numbers and said, well, it looks like there's some leftover funds, meaning the increment brought in from the new properties is greater than what we're spending on the frontage road. But Councilwoman Jessica Ledger-Kalin said, well, let's have our people check the numbers because there's more to it. Sometimes there's interest rates that have to be considered and paying the interest and other things. So we're kind of tabling that, but we'll continue to talk with the property owner and invite that person to attend a Ways and Means Committee meeting and talk about what the city can do. I mean, we're right now trying to keep our budget in check as part of getting back on track for a better bond rating. So
we call that the Green Zones Project. Just kidding.
Yeah, it's important to be fiscally responsible.
Well, of course.
It might not be the right time to do it, or we might have to figure out some other way, but it would be great. We have this housing need to have new development out there, but we need to also be smart about how we fund it. So more on that as it comes.
Cool.
We had the second reading of the water rate increase. This is a 12% increase to the water portion of the utility bill, which usually comes to about 30% or a third approximately of the utility bill. So 12% of that is a small percentage of the whole. So your whole bill is not going up 12%. One thing I was hoping the newly recommissioned Green Commission, man, I'm really full of interesting words today.
It's a wordy day. By the way, just to break that down, that means your bill will be going up about 4%.
But you can potentially, this is what I would hope to have as an educational campaign to help people find ways to save water. Because if you save water, you pay less water, and you also pay less wastewater. The wastewater is billed based on your water usage. Mm-hmm. So if you use less water, you also pay less. So that's the wastewater is about another third of your bill. So there's 2/3 of your bill that you are actively in control of. The recycling and trash is just a standard rate that usually makes up the rest of it. So there's no real way to save there. But water use is something just like energy use, electric use, and natural gas use that we are in control of. Mm-hmm. So I would hope that we'll have an energy saving or water saving campaign and maybe help people find technology that helps save water. Simple things like low flow shower head. I remember the low flow shower heads from the 90s were awful. We've tried to put some in an MUM and people would end up unscrewing them and then the water would just flow, which defeated the whole purpose. But I was given one by Alliant Energy after this audit a couple years ago, and it's, I think, the best shower head I've ever had. So obviously the technology is now improved.
Cool.
Low flow toilets used to require 2 flushings, which again defeated the entire purpose, but now they're designed, they could be low flow but very powerful. So more on that later, but we're going to be taking a look at this kind of thing because the wastewater, especially the water, but more the wastewater, is scheduled to step up little increases over the years to cover the improvements. But if we can help people find ways to offset that cost by reducing the use, then we help people who are fixed income or low income. We rezoned 200 East Briggs from B1 to R3, so it was zoned as a business, and these people want to be able to use it as a residence. That's fine. Let's see. We heard from a few committees, Ways and Means. They met with all the city department heads, and at the advice of our fiscal agent that we've been working with, a firm out of Des Moines, Piper Jaffray, kind of helping us get back on track, get our bond rating back up. They asked all the department heads to reduce spending through this fiscal year. Our city fiscal year goes through the end of June, so the new fiscal year will be July 1st. And it's one of those little money games. It's the same reason that private businesses sometimes will donate at the end of the year for a tax write-off. if we can minimize expenses through this fiscal year and just basically postpone purchases if we can till the next fiscal year, then when we have our audit of this fiscal year, it shows greater fiscal responsibility and reducing spending, and that should help. Knocking on some wood
with the bond.
Getting that bond rating back where we'd like to see it. The Water and Sewer Utilities Committee met. They're considering, this is interesting, they're considering a paperless utility bill. So they had a request from some property owners in Fairfield who are out of the town a good portion of the year. Mm-hmm. They say by the time the bill gets mailed and then rerouted to where they are, I think Florida, sometimes they're late in their payment because of that time.
So right now that option hasn't been there?
Well, there's a automatic pay option.
Right. So that's different than...
Yeah, it's different. So that's just, it comes out of your bank account automatically each month. For some reason, they didn't want that. So they would prefer kind of an e-bill, an electronic bill.
Like credit card companies have been pushing to do.
Yep, like everyone wants to do these days. So the water department, the water billing department located at the front of City Hall has looked into that, and it's very promising. If people we could go that route, it might be an initial investment. But
well, I mean, one thing credit card companies do is offer a little bit off. Or do they do that? Or am I imagining that? If you go that route, maybe they don't. But
yeah,
it'd just be another. I know it's more management on the one hand till it becomes a whole system one way or the other.
Yeah,
and if it's
exactly.
split,
yeah, it'll be split for sure because there are some people who just aren't into that kind of thing. But more on that later. I think that's a great idea. The personnel committee met just to discuss the city administrator. They have a proposal they're not quite ready to bring to council for an interim situation and then begin the search for replacement in earnest, I believe in July. So I don't know the details.
Okay,
so
more on that coming up?
Yep. We had a projects update from French Reniker. They're a local engineering firm the city uses extensively for all sorts of engineering of city projects. So they gave an update on street projects that'll be working on this year, wastewater projects, water line projects, and Melanie Carson, who's kind of the representative, works closely with the city, asked if we, the city, would be interested in having them publish it like they did last year, although that wasn't standard procedure. And my answer was absolutely. And I'd like to put it on the city's website. I'd like to put it on the city's Facebook page. The more we can let people know where construction is scheduled beforehand, the better. So, I mean, there are times when there was an incident where a street was being reconstructed, and then there was a natural gas line that was too shallow, and so we had to wait for the utility company to come and bury it lower. And that street was ripped up basically all summer, and the people who lived there had to work around that. For streets inaccessible, and you have to figure out where you're going to park. And so the more we can share that information, the better. There's actually a new Facebook page for the wastewater, Fairfield wastewater something or other. I'm sure if you did Fairfield Iowa wastewater, you'd find it, where they put notices out of where their trucks will be working. So again, it's just that trying to get that information out to the public as much as possible, so you're not caught off guard when a truck shows up and starts working on your street. All right, the last thing, very interesting, very, very promising. The new pool and gym project is moving forward. So we revised the budget after the county vote came back 55%, no thanks, and reduced it from over $10 million to about 8.5, which was what the fundraisers thought was doable number.
Okay.
One thing we decided in order to save some money on the outdoor pool was bringing it over and locating it south of the indoor pool. That it eliminated the need for an outbuilding so that both facilities could share restrooms, showers, etc. So that's the plan at this point, is to put it south of the indoor pool in that field. And then as far as the gym, we had to switch from what would have been a little fancier building with lots of light. That was the idea, a lot of daylighting. Most likely we're going to go the route of a pre-engineered metal building with significantly less daylighting. But the designers were there, and they said that they're going to bid the project with the windows, and then without as bid alternates. What that allows is so that the city knows what the cost of having those windows would be. If we can't afford it now, we have less daylighting, but it's something that could be added in time. So that was very much appreciated. For the volleyball and racquetball court fans, we'd be happy to know the current plan maintains 2 courts where they are and builds around them. So there would be a new lobby area. The court on the north side would be removed. Currently, for a long time, it's been housing gymnastics equipment, so it hasn't been used for racquetball or volleyball in quite a while. That one would come out. There'd be an open lobby, and then the 3 tracks, or the 3 courts and running track would be attached to the west side and would be about 3 feet lower grade than the rest, and that just saves having to come in and add earth to raise it up. So you would step down to that level. But the design it's really just amazing how these designers can do this, where I should call them architects, I suppose, where they take what you wanted, take what you can afford, and really marry the two in a way that we're going to get what we wanted, but we're going to get what we can afford. And it's really exciting how far it's coming.
Well, that is a lot of good news on that front. I know a lot of people looking forward to getting the outdoor pool going again and all that. So great news there. And I think that'll just about do it. You've been listening to City Business. Coming up in a few minutes, if you're listening live on Tuesday, Dennis Ramundi is going to be talking with Marianne Williamson, best-selling author who is making a run for Congress out in U.S. Congress out in California at 1:30 p.m. But we have been talking once again with Michael Halley. We appreciate FMC being here, the Fairfield Media Center. This is KRUU-FM, your solar-powered community grassroots Fairfield station. And we are really enjoying, we didn't mention, working with KMCD and Classic 96 with Fairfest. It feels really good. Tammy Jones and Steve Smith over there doing an amazing job. There's going to be an outdoor stage on the town square, also a beverage garden and all that. So keep it tuned right here to Solar Powered KRUU-FM, and we'll be back in just a minute.